Huzzah and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen at arms. I have a very fun video for you today that doesn't quite fit with my other playlists, but I wanted to do it all the same. Since I had taken the day off from my normal work to recuperate, I've decided to bring to you automatic potion machines. Now, this video will require that you already have some of a working knowledge of how potions are made and how they work. And I am making another video that will help with the very basics of potions, but these machines are going to assume that you already know how to make your potions. So let's get right into it. We're going to start over here with these two little contraptions. This one right here, just a little pause so you can pause there and build it just by looking at it, but we'll look at it from this side as well. That hopper goes into this dispenser, and the chest is there, and we will fill it up with glass bottles here in a moment just to show you how it works. But you have a water source in front of a dispenser, and the dispenser will be full of glass bottles, and this will automatically fill up all of these glass bottles with water to make them water bottles for your eventual potion brewing. You have a button right here to unjam the machine, because if this ends up with a blank spot in the dispenser, such as one slot is not filled with glass bottles to be filled with water, the machine will jam and you will have to unjam it by pressing the button. That's just like a primer to get it started. So, without too much more fanfare, also you'll need this button for the very first one as well. It's like a primer. You can hear it clicking right along. It will fill up that bottle, or fill up that chest with water bottles. And when full, it will stop. Now, there's going to be one in here to light up the comparator that powers this block and powers this torch, or depowers this torch rather. When this torch flicks back on, it will power the dispenser to use another water bottle on the water source and send it to the hopper. And that's really all there is to this one. It's very basic, very simple. And it will automatically fill up water bottles for you, because there's very little that's as annoying as having to fill up all your water bottles, having to empty your inventory so that you can refill all of your water bottles from a water source and carry them all the way over to your potion brewing and work your way through them that way. So, this machine handles all of that. If you keep it close by to your potion brewing, you won't have to haul all your full water bottles anywhere. So I will linger here for a moment. You can have a look at this build. We start with a chest. This is a device that does the same thing, but it doesn't have that same weakness of the jam up happening when one slot becomes empty. It's also a bit faster. Oh, we have nothing to show for it right now. But I'll linger here so it's easy to pause and get a view of what you're building. This switch doesn't actually do anything, or this lever, pardon me, except to keep this redstone powered on. You can't use a torch because then it would power this block, which would be a problem. So anyway, we'll just get right into the demonstration of it. We're going to need some bottles before that happens, huh? That is a risk with this machine, is that you must, or you must fill up the dispenser as it goes. It has the potential to, when depowered, pick up one of the water bottles that it's filled. So you can end up jamming up your machine with a bunch of water bottles that get picked right back up into the dispenser. But once you have it filled the first time, there's no place for filled water bottles to go in a slot here, so it can't pick them back up. And that is about the only weakness, but you listen to how quickly that filled up this whole double chest with water bottles, ready to be made into awkward potions. Because who doesn't love awkward, right? So, we have two different designs here. These are both one wide tileable, and you can ignore this lever. It's only here for demonstration purposes, so you can see what's going on as I explain the redstone. This one to the right here is a very compact version. The biggest problem with it is that it's very easy to get to your dispensers from this front side with a mouse and keyboard, and this one is easier to maintain and reload with people who play on console. And I once again have to give credit to Silent Whisperer for these and these, but I will link his channel in the description, or their channel rather, excuse me. And then there's also another build that I'll show you that I will link to another YouTuber who apparently is a redstone genius. You could also credit these to Blue Jay Games. Um, I'll link them as well. This is a fairly common type of potion brewing setup. So how this works is this chest is for your water bottles, and it uses an alternating locked hopper and locked hopper that are opposite. So when this one is locked, this one is not. And when this one is unlocked, this one is locked, so that your water bottles don't just slip right through. You can use a barrel or a shulker box here as you see fit. Unfortunately, you can't open the shulker box while it's underneath unless you could place it against the back like that so that it opens horizontally. But at any rate, you just take and place in your brewing components as you need them here. So nether wart is always first, and then we'll say we're going to make a fire resistance potion and we want it to last longer. So we'll throw in the redstone dust so that it lasts the longest. You'll also need to manually load all of your brewing fuel, but one single blaze powder lasts for 20 operations, and you can put an entire stack in there. So that's going to last you quite a long time, and you have easy access to the brewing stand as it is. So what happens is when you push this button, and it must be a wooden button. Don't use a stone or blackstone button. The timing gets wrong. But you get a signal. Boom. Everything switches. Now this hopper is locked and this one is unlocked. You see that our potions are no longer hanging out in our brewing stand. They're in the box. Well, they're just water bottles currently. And you see all of our redstone ladder here is oppositely charged. Turn it off. You heard our dispensers click up there. And what happens is, as you can see that our ingredients have been placed this way. Now, the nether wart fell in there, and you put them in order, and because hoppers always take from the left side first, you can predict how these things are going to work. So the nether wart goes to the brewing stand, and the magma cream will wait its turn, and then the redstone will wait its turn. And if you had more than 5 ingredients, I think 6 is the maximum number for a potion that you can make. I don't know why you would need to continue brewing things after that, but you never know. Maybe you just like brewing corrupting potions back and forth all day. Any So how you can set this up is you can fill these dispensers. You could fill this one with all the nether wart, and then you could take and once you've decided the type of potion you're going to brew, we've decided here that we're going to make a fire resistance extended potion. You could remove all the rest of this tower. So we'd only need the 3 ingredients, the magma cream, the redstone, and the nether wart. And then every time you push this button, you would get 3 of these potions down into this box. So you could do that 9 times before your box was fully loaded. I personally love to make entire shulker boxes full of a single type of potion to take with me for a new project. Sometimes 2 or 3 shulker boxes full of the same potion, depending on the size of the project. But every time you push the button, you will get 3 potions of that type. And as long as you've continued to load everything consistently, that will be what you get. So I will pause right here so you can see the build is not quite the same either way. So here's the lower portion with the chest. And the chest is where you'll place your water bottles to become awkward potions, and then whatever potion you decide beyond that. Always, always, always your first ingredient is going to be nether wart. So this is your first ingredient here. And if you use this particular build, you'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a dispenser facing downward, or excuse me, a dropper facing downward into this barrel. But if you need a 6 ingredient stack for this one, you'll remove that and you'll repeat this portion of the build here. So you already have this torch and an observer observing the torch. And I will quickly show, whoops, right, dropper's face towards you when you place them. So we'll do that. And you will need a solid block. Any solid block works. If you are familiar with my videos, these blue concrete blocks are circuit blocks, and I am definitely in need of making sure you know that for this video, because that monster over there has a lot of different circuits, but we'll get to that in a moment. You can, or I'm sorry, with this particular build, do not use hoppers through all of this. You need to use these barrels. With this one, you can just use hoppers, or to save on resources, you can replace every other hopper with a barrel. Your droppers will just place items directly into barrels, and it won't affect timing or it won't affect results. So, tileable. Both of these builds are tileable, so you can set them all up right next to each other and have a whole array of every single potion that you want to brew regularly. The build doesn't change at all. It's already tileable as it is right here. You just need to repeat it as much as you need. Do keep in mind, though, that there is not a very good way to load these chests in this particular configuration. So you have to be able to reach all of the chests that you set up. And you have a 7 block reach, roughly. So the most you could get away with here is 13 or 14 towers all strung up next to each other before you wouldn't be able to reach anymore. This is the only dead space in this whole build, and this is where you have to be able to reach in to place water bottles into these chests. So just keep that in mind if you're making an entire array. It's very easy still to space one out as well. So if every 6 towers you leave a blank space and then build 6 more towers, you'll be just fine. And I think instead I will make that the conclusion of part 1 of this video. So, this is the White Sun Paladin. I am wishing you blessings on your next adventure, and I will see you in part 2 of this quest.